So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the 5 Questions program here as a offshoot of what used to be the Promo Cares Radio podcast, but we don't really do that anymore. But we did the intro with Kate Nash that was so well received by so many people. We thought, a lot of the people who participate in the Promo Cares community have done so in the recent past, so much so that many of you maybe haven't had the opportunity to hear from some of we Promo Cares board members. So we figured what's good for Kate, dang it, it's good for the rest of the board. So here we are. Now we have a new content series. Thank you, everyone, for giving me more work. Congratulations. We now have the 5 Questions series with the Promo Cares board. And today I'm joined by none other than Mandi Rudd. Mandi Rudd, thank you for joining me on the program today.
Thanks, Raj. You've been voluntold.
Legit was, but you know what? This
Voluntold
one I'm okay with because the truth of the matter is there's a lot of people who have kind of come to find out about Promo Cares, gosh, maybe even in the last week, from some of what's been going on with the Dale Denham Online 18 and things like that.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Well, maybe you're just finding your way to our brand for the first time. And who are all of these people on the About Us page? And why are they the boss? Why are they doing the things?
So good prayers, huggers.
So here we are.
Real volunteers.
So I'm going to do my best to replicate the question format. You know me, though. I have a way of wandering. I'm going to do my best to stay on task, ask you only the questions that I'm intended to ask you, so that maybe you'll know what it is that you want to say, but we'll see. Okay?
Yep. And I would just like to clarify, Roger did not send me these questions in advance. So I am just as excited to see what I'm going to say when he asks me these questions.
So we'll see whom in the Promo Cares Nation decides to go review the questions I ask Kate versus the questions I ask you, to see how close I stay to the actual question format. Bets are on.
Well, I will say, I can say with complete conviction that Kate's answers to her 5 questions were magnificent. And I feel as though we've already reached the pinnacle with those answers. So hopefully we have different questions for me, because there's no way that I can duplicate the magnificence.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I have confidence we're going to get through this. So Mandi Rudd, first and foremost, who's Mandi Rudd and how is she involved in this promotional products industry? Like, what's up with that? Tell the people, like, who are we talking to?
Okay. So I joined the ranks of Promo Cares, 2 years ago? Something like that. I threatened to join. I kind of tap dance around being involved for probably about the 2 years leading up to the 2 years I've been involved. But yeah, got involved with Promo Cares in early 2020. That expo, that was the pre-pandemic expo, was our first in-person meeting. But I've been in the promo industry as a business owner on the distributor side since 2013. I did contract sales a couple years prior to that for another solo distributor. And I'm in Kansas City. I am a boy mom. I have a boy who will be 15 this month, and I have 2 dogs, Katie and Norman. If they bark, I have my mouse right over the mute button. So no promises that this will be a smooth sailing interview. Let's see. I do a lot of volunteering. I am on the board for our regional association, PPA Midwest, Promo Cares. I do a lot of fundraising and nonprofits outside of the industry. And giving is just something that we should all be doing in some fashion. So whether it's our time, talent, or treasure, it's all incumbent upon each of us to do something to help people, place, planets, whatever the case may be.
But why Promo Cares? Why us, Mandi Rudd? Why?
Well, like all of us that are in this industry, I love this industry. From the relationships that we create with our promotional industry partners, to our clients and being able to help them achieve their goals by giving them a tangible piece of their brand to help them tell their story, to just be a part of that it's exciting, it's fulfilling. And then being able to use products that have a give back tied to them. So it's a contagion of helping, right? You're helping your client tell their story, you're growing your business, and you're helping others. And I mean, the part about growing your business sounded a little tacky, but the point is that it's a success story when your client has a successful campaign that you've shared with them. And then if there's a give back tied to that product that's going to continue to help others, there's no greater win in my mind when it comes to using the power of promotional products and the power of our industry. You want to tack onto that products that are sustainably sourced and resourced and created. And it's a very big story that our products can tell. We've grown from being cornered into one 4-letter word of swag to, products coming to life that tell company stories and messaging. So yeah, I love our industry.
My good friend Danny, when we have our discussions, he says to me all the time, the difference between my business and yours is we happened upon this as the fundamental part of our business long after we started being in business. You, my friend Roger, get to start your business with this as your fundamental purpose on day one. So for you, when it came to brand energy marketing, how did that journey happen for you?
Well, I kind of stumbled into it by accident. I did not have this guiding force of the sustainability or the giving back as my guiding force into why I started my business. I had the good fortune of being able to stay home for several years after my son Henry was born. And when he went off to the mean streets of preschool, it was a full day of school where we lived. And I thought I should do something, and I wanted to do something. And I always have been an entrepreneur at heart. And so I had done projects and companies and events and things that I'd worked on while he was little. And a friend of mine who was in the promo industry said, "Hey, do you want to do contract sales for me?" And I thought, well, I've got a degree in advertising. I've always been in sales and marketing and advertising in some fashion, and thought, yeah, totally, let's do this. So I learned, Sage. I learned ESP. I learned how to, I created those supplier partner and multi-line rep relationships, and that really helped me obviously connect in the industry. And then when I moved from Colorado to Kansas City, for multiple reasons, didn't make sense for us to continue in that same partnership. So I thought, well, if I get an ASI number or a PPAI number, and I can learn QuickBooks, and I can, keep my accountant on speed dial, let's do it. Let's open a business. And I've been very, very fortunate in that I opened my company doors in 2013, and it allowed me to have the best of all worlds. That I was the room mom for every one of Henry's elementary school classes, going to go on every field trip and class party, all the while being able to create a life and keep, our home going. And it really checked a lot of boxes. And then, of course, the relationships that we get in our industry, and then are amazing. And as I've grown my business, being able to have a story to tell about the passion behind my lane, I guess you will, in promo cares, is being able to have that fundraising or gifting or philanthropic giving tied to what I do with my clients. So
I'm doing my best job as the interviewer not to be floored by the fact that it's only been 2 years since you've been involved in what we've been doing. It feels like much, much longer than that.
No, I guess it's 3 years. Math is hard.
Okay,
right?
Even 3.
Okay, I'm glad you said math is hard. So I got into this industry because there's not a lot of math.
There's no letter algebraic equations that you need to learn to.
No, but hey, if you ever need me to measure a triangle in a pinch, I'm your gal. Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared. I got it. Never needed it, but I know how to do it. Yeah, so 3 years. Right. Yeah.
So somewhere between the 3 years ago and when you got going with your ASI number and you said, all right, I'm making a go at this, was there a customer, a project, an event? Was there a moment when you were like, aha, I get it now. This is where I can take this thing that I get paid to do and make it be part of what I'm really called to do? Was there a moment?
Oh, we all have that one story, that one really proud, like I was really kind of proud that this happened. And then kind of parallel to that, like, oh my gosh, they actually listened to me. Like, I can't believe they actually listened to me. I'm a resource. I had a client that asked if I could do bottled water branded for their event. And I just said no. And they said, oh, well, we've seen it. I thought you could do that. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Let me clarify that. Yes, it does exist, but we as a company have the policy that we don't do that. For us, we don't want to contribute to plastic bottles like that ending up in trash, landfill. But what we do like to do instead is offer suggestions on reusable drinkware that keeps your brand message out there longer, can support causes that will build water towers or help other philanthropies that need it. So for example, what we ended up ultimately doing was through Snugs, the base camp water bottle that helps wounded warriors by supporting their cause by the Wounded Warrior program. And the client loved it so much. Plus we had really great decoration techniques. So it helped tell their brand story. It had a give back tied to it. The impressions are still ongoing because those bottles can be kept around, drinkware can be kept around for years and years and years. They loved it so much that they ultimately were like, oh, we want to do it for this next event and this next event. And so it was just a trifecta of winning for everybody, but most importantly, the planet.
You've really, for most of what's gone on for the last 3 years, you've been, if not steering, at the co-steering wheel.
Well, you nailed it. I will say that I have been actively involved in advancing and bringing to life a lot of the goals that we collectively have set forth, but there is no universe that exists where I was doing it by myself. I have the M to my M. Ms. Meg Erber is a powerhouse, well, literally and figuratively, of energy and enthusiasm and get it done. And so between us and our collective committee, I mean, we are not asleep at the wheel of this group. So being able to collectively figure out what we want to do, how we want to do it, and then just saying, okay, now we're going to go do it, and then actually doing it. So yeah, so we've had some proud, I can't believe we did that. It got done and it was successful moments in the last few years. So yeah, it's, thank you for the compliment, but it is by no means just me at all.
I will allow you the opportunity to serve as the representative of the committee, due the respect and admiration of the rest of the Promo Cares Board for all of the work that each of you have done in this process. We will get to the other folk later. This is your turn. It's yours. So just you worry about, let me handle the other folks. I'm worried about you right now. We got you here right now. So here's the thing, like you're being very bashful. You're involved in your own very substantial fundraising efforts to the benefit of your local community that are helping our efforts to do the things that are allowing our organization to raise just ridiculous amounts of money in crazy fast turnaround times. It's absurd in a lot of ways what we're capable of doing, and that has much to do with the experience of the people who are taking on those tasks and the willingness of that group to put their energy into making it be the success that we want it to be. So having said all that, what were you able to bring to these efforts from what you do in your local community? And then what we've done taught you to help you be better at what you do there? Like where are these two things helping each other for you?
So, I mean, fundraising is, and for nonprofits, that's a big part of what I do in my spare time, I guess. I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but just being able to volunteer and connect and help others in some way, that just, to me, that's like breathing. And so yes, there's a big event in Kansas City called Big Slick, and we raise money for a children's hospital here, pediatric hospital. the ultimate goal of eradicating pediatric cancer. So just that. And so we do that in multiple ways by hosting an event that has ticket sales and sponsorships. And a significant portion of what we do is using the power of branded merchandise. So t-shirts, drinkware, hats, and lip, like just tons of things that we offer as an industry, being able to use that to grow our fundraising dollars. Everything that we do, we are a volunteer organization. So every dollar we receive as a donation goes directly to the hospital. None of us have salaries, we're all volunteers. And so being able to take that same mindset and seeing how fortunate and generous the community how fortunate we are that the community is so generous in helping us fundraise, being able to take that to our industry and help causes that our industry that we feel are important. So being able to create that Sleep In for Good campaign that we did right during and right after pandemic, that played a number on all of us and our emotional well-being. And so being able to say, hey, every single one of us has experienced some level of not being okay right. from lockdown and pandemic and the fear and illness and anything in between. So what's the common denominator in that? It's our mental well-being. And the first step to feeling good is making sure you have a good night's sleep. And then everything sort of comes after that. And so being able to create that Sleep In for Good campaign that we did, where we had, campaign champions help us promote it online, and really utilizing the power of our suppliers in the industry to help us put together those Sleep In for Good kits. What do you need? Well, a journal to write your thoughts, a really good cup of coffee in the morning, some comfy PJs and socks and things to relax, and a good pen to write your notes. And that was not possible without our supplier partners. And we raised a very, impressive amount of money to go to the beneficiary for that was NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. So being able to give those funds for them to use for volunteers taking calls for those who are in crisis and crisis help. And then now, 2 years ago, gosh, this is my current events lesson, the war in Ukraine. When the war in Ukraine first broke out, every one of us thought, gosh, we all need to do something. What can we do? What can one person do? It's like that drop of water, that ripple effect that one person can make a difference. Could we as Promo Cares stop the war? No. But could our fundraising efforts get much needed supplies to children in Ukraine at that moment? Would that be helpful to them? Absolutely. So with the help of Jonathan Isaacson at Gemline, as you know, we connected with this amazing group that helped us get money to children in Ukraine. And we couldn't have done that had we not created this movement of compassionate collaboration over competition. So we had Alpha Broder, S&S, Vantage, three very traditionally competing suppliers come together and supply us with everything we needed, along with Chameleon Light to help us get these t-shirts that people bought online for their donation to get the money to help the kids in Ukraine. So all of that was because of a t-shirt. And we raised over $50,000 for that. So being able to take one thing and use it to raise money to help others, we have that power. We have that ability in our industry. If every single distributor like myself, I am one person in a distributorship. If every single distributor sold one product that had a give back to it, think of what that ripple effect would be in helping others. And that's what motivates me to do what I do. Wow, I figured it out. That's what motivates me to do what I do. See, I told you I was going to show up just to see what I'd say.
You talked yourself right into the answer. See, it's exactly the way it's supposed to work.
You're really good.
I think what's fun about our group is there is overlap in skill, but then there's pockets of expertise where only some of us are good at some things. And it's such a refreshing environment to be in when we can stretch to places that a group of people who all have the same skill set would be paralyzed to try to do. And because of the varied nature and the varied passions that we all have, what they all tie back to gives us opportunities to look at things like what Kate said in her discussion with us about, like, everybody wants to do something, but they don't feel like they alone can. And we just charge right at those big things and go, well, we'll do it. And like, give people a chance who, if you feel that way too about that particular topic, come on, let's go. And maybe we do a little teaching for folks along the way, so that if you want to feel good about this and go, like, keep doing it, like we just taught you an exercise, keep going to the gym, keep doing the exercise for yourself, because the impact that you'll be able to make as a result of what you did with us is the direct kind of objective we set out to do this for, right?
So for any distributors who might be tuning into Promo Cares Radio, you know, there are tools out there that are, this is not hard to do. Yes, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, but start very small. Think, if you have any of your supplier partner multi-line rep relationships, ask them what product, or like they have 2 products that they offer that have a give back tied to it, and just offer those in every presentation you do. It doesn't necessarily have to make sense for their campaign, but just say, oh, you know, this is a cool thing that I like. I thought I'd tell you about it. Next to that, if you have Sage as your search option, they have this amazing filter of criteria that you can put in if your passion lies with animal, you know, shelter or rescue or veterans, or you know, maybe you want to have, you know, a minority owned, or whatever the case may be, wherever your passions lie within giving, find out. You can filter down and only select products that have a give back to those, whether it's water, the planet, things like that. Pick 1 or 2 products and do the same thing. Just share those 1 or 2 products, and you'll start to see it grow and grow and grow. So no, don't think you have to have this entire catalog of things that you need to offer. And then, of course, the best resource is if you go to promocares.org, you'll be able to see all of the suppliers that, and the list is growing. So it's not a complete list. It's a very significant list, because there are a lot of amazing suppliers that have give backs tied to their products, and or they're practicing sustainable creation practice, whether it's the decoration technique or the fabrics, or anything to do with DEI and making sure that their warehouses are safe and so forth. So all of that is right there on Promo Cares. And then obviously reaching out to any one of us if you want to just bounce some ideas. Clearly we like to talk. So we'll answer your questions.
And I think for us, it's like anyone that happened to wander into our group and say, I have an idea of what I'd like to try to accomplish, you're going to get an avalanche of help. Like, everyone's so eager to want to see other people come along for the journey, that you just show even just a little bit of interest, like you're going to get all kinds of attention.
We'll try and contain ourselves.
Of what we're trying to do, right? So, I mean, that part of it is the easy part. It's just being willing to raise your hand and say, I want to be a part of this. You know, the funny part about this interview series is the one thread that will continuously show itself is each one of us found a moment where we were just like, okay, I'll raise my hand. I want to be a part of that. And no one came along and kind of was like, hey. It was mostly us going, hey.
I'm aboard. Join us on this 3-hour tour.
Well, and to which, you know, I mean, the answer is congratulations, welcome to all of the hard work, but the weather is fine. So,
well, I'll say on that, I mean, it isn't just that we aren't just the group that does fundraising. We aren't a group that just asks for people to make donations. We're also the megaphone for good in what's happening in the industry. So everything from, like we said, companies that are doing great things, we want to share that message. Right. So, I mean, and we have on our board, and I know you'll talk about that, but we have this incredible group of people that are from distributors, suppliers, service providers, and all over the globe, and different perspectives and different passions. And so collectively, we are this cornucopia of goodness to share with the industry. I mean, the things that we've learned and the things that we're passionate about, that's the goodness part that we get to share. So it's not just this one lane.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I don't know any of our businesses in our group that are like, yeah, we're just not doing so great. Like, we're all doing pretty good. Like, you know, the strategy seems to be effective. So,
well, and then, you know, companies are asking for it. I mean, the next generation of grown-ups, if you will, this is just a mainstay for them. This isn't like a new thing. This isn't like a new latest greatest fad. You know, for up and coming generations, sustainability and doing good things for the planet, that's just like breathing. It's just what you do. It's not a choice. It's just what you do. So, and they're asking for it too. They're giving their dollars to companies that are
on that being an accurate statement, Mandi Rudd. So I hope you're right. So here we are. We've gone the full gamut. So our initial fundraising efforts were dedicated to a problem that we saw afflicting the people who work in our industry largely, right? So we're taking care of ourselves in a time when we desperately needed to be taken care of. And it was successful. We had a ton of fun. We were able to raise a significant amount of money and involve a very large cross-section of our industry in the fun that was what we did to raise the money. That was, to me,
I will say, yeah, no, I agree. It was, we couldn't have scripted it to go as well as it did. We couldn't have said, okay, here's my idea board. I want this, this, and this to happen. And then for it to all happen. It just, the way our promotional products industry supported this and really just brought it to life was incredible, which was one arm of it. The other arm of it, which was equally as important, obviously raising money and awareness for National Alliance on Mental Illness, but that giving everyone the permission to say, yeah, I wasn't okay, I'm not okay, and to hopefully remove the stigma that mental illness is something to be kind of kept on the down low. No, every single one of us has our moments in some way, shape, or form where we were not okay. And it's okay to talk about it. There's power and strength in talking about it and making sure everyone is aware that, hey, there's no stigma attached. You know, therapy is not to be considered anything other than a checkup from the neck up. You know, if you've got a cough or a cold, you're going to go get some cough and cold medicine. If you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. If you have a stomachache, if you're having emotional experience, you go talk to someone about that. It should be viewed as no different than treating a cold, a toothache, or a stomachache. And I hope that was something that was a really big takeaway, because I know that was important for every single one of us, not just in a fancy hashtag, but really that was another message that we wanted to get across, that, yeah, there's no stigma in this. You're not alone.
The way we did it, if anyone coming across this was like, well, I wasn't involved with what was going on back then. If you go back to our Instagram feed for that period of time and just consume what was being shared, it will move you. It will absolutely move you. Some of the journal entry posts that people made about the things that they were writing about, that like, I won't forget that. And to know that we, in addition to raising money, created an environment where people felt safe to be able to talk about that kind of stuff, was like, it was kind of the first hint that, okay, maybe this community has a thing that we weren't quite aware of, right? And so
it was amazing to hear stories. You know, Meg Erber and I were sort of the megaphone for a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And so a lot of independent reach outs. And we had more people reach out to us saying, how can I help? What can I do? I experienced this and I had the industry rally around me, or I experienced that. I mean, and I'm a crier. And there were so many calls that Meg and I had, and we were both just in tears listening to people and honored that people within our industry were sharing their stories. Right. And it was very cathartic, I think, for everybody. And at a time when, gosh, it was a dark time for so many of us. And so, yeah, there were just that campaign, that For Good campaign, the Sleep In For Good campaign was just, it had goodness all around it. So we were thrilled to bring that to life. And then the Ukraine For Good,
right.
That was incredibly special. So,
well, and for me, I think what was interesting about Ukraine For Good was it was the first time we were approached by people who said, we think you're best suited for this work because of everything that you've done up until this point to be in the position for the broadest cross section of the industry to want to rally behind something that you decided to do. And man, you want
amazing support.
And just learning how we and all nonprofit fundraisers can completely undervalue the worth of what you can actually create if you just allow yourself the opportunity to think that you can. Mandi Rudd. All right, lightning round. You ready?
Oh, there's more, maybe. Okay.
Lightning round. Tea or coffee?
Yes.
Right? That seems to be the prevailing opinion. Is there any
I drink a lot of coffee, but I'm of English heritage. Both my parents were born and raised in England, so I usually have a cup of tea in the afternoon. Just tea. See? Hot tea with milk is just called tea.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
Coffee. All the coffee.
This is these we're building statistics. Sweet or savory?
Yes. But too much savory. I need a little sweet to cut the salt.
Not really a line in the sand kind of girl is what we're saying.
I would probably lean more toward the savory and the salt, like the charcuterie versus cake and cookies.
Okay. I asked Kate motorcycle versus skydiving, but I'm not asking you that one.
Okay.
I know the answer.
No.
Ride in a submarine overnight or go deep sea diving?
I would go diving versus submarine. Yeah.
I don't think I could do either.
I need to escape route. I'm too claustrophobic.
I don't think I could do either, but okay, I'm with you. All right, so the Carrie Cowden question. You're through TSA, but not on the airplane yet. Go.
There's always time for a cocktail.
Cocktail. Any go-to, or you change it up, or?
The airport is the one place where it is not weird to see somebody at 7 a.m. with a scotch.
Agreed.
That would not be me, but I mean, I'm all like, mimosa is good for breakfast, lunch, or evening.
No one's going to be angry. Oh my God.
I take that back. First thing I always do is refill my water bottle. That's the first thing I do is find those bottle fillers, fill my water bottle. Okay. And then I'll probably go find an adult beverage.
I would join you at the bar. I would definitely join you at the bar.
Yeah.
Most impactful book you've ever read?
Diet for a New America by John Robbins. I read it in 1991. He's the grandson of Baskin and Robbins, and he went in depth on the myth and all the myths surrounding factory farming and how and meat. And I think by the second chapter, I became a vegetarian.
Well, his son Ocean Robbins is carrying on in his footsteps, so I'm familiar with that brand. Yep. So that's I'm with you. How Not to Die is also another book that kind of falls into that same category of like, okay, that would have been good to know.
Okay. We have to check that out.
All right, so you can answer one or both of these.
Okay.
So either or both. An unusual thing about you that most people don't know, or two truths and a lie.
I have partied with a president. I have been headlocked by a police officer. I have been an extra in a motion picture film.
Okay. Dang. All right. So it would stand to reason that you have been an extra in a movie. I could see how you would have partied with a president. I wouldn't be shocked if you got in a headlock by a police officer. So these are all very challenging. But I'm going to take the least exciting one as the lie in hopes that I'm right. That you've never been headlocked by a police officer.
I have never been in a motion picture.
Ah, dang it.
Extra in a motion picture.
Well, that should get fixed. That's ridiculous. I mean, this seems like not a tough thing to fix.
I feel like we have an in.